Oh, good evening. It is, what is today? The 24th. It is Tuesday. You will hear my dogs in the background. They're playing in their bowls for whatever crazy reason. Just kind of chilling out from the day. I'm drinking a cup of coffee because I felt like I needed to be soothed by coffee before, I went into drinking a glass of wine tonight. How was your day? What was the highlight? Do you like my sweatshirt? My thrift find. I think I paid $3 for it, and then the back's got Winnie the Pooh on it too. Actually could have been a size bigger, but it was so cute, and I was like, I can make it work. I'm just talking nonsense. Nonsense, trying to wind down from the day, because what do you do when you no longer align with where you were working, and you know it's time to leave, but yet your hands are kind of tied because you need an income, and you're not one to rock the boat, and you're not one to make waves, but when you can see exactly what the writing on the wall, and you're not doing anything about it, it kind of goes against who you are, right? Because why beat your head against a wall when you know the wall is not going to budge? But I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach, published author. I teach art and communication classes based in life coaching. I do a lot of product content, trying to land a brand deal. Fame and fortune would be real nice if it landed in my lap. I went and actually broke down and bought lottery tickets the other day. I haven't done that since before Christmas. That was a lot of the gifts that I gave to the brewer guys at my work. Got them each like $1 ticket. You know, when you're in a surrounding where everybody is not in a really good mental place, there has to be at least one person to try to make everybody be happier, make the environment a little bit more inviting, and by buying each of those gentlemen a lottery ticket, even if it was just for one day, it perked them up, and that was important to me. So who's doing that for you? Who's perking you up? Who is giving you reason to look forward to something? A chance for hope, a chance for something different than what you've always have known. So, I talk about branding content and branding identity, understanding ideology has no business in any business at all. What your personal belief is, if it does not align with the brand, you need to learn to separate it. We talk about that in my business coaching classes, because there are a lot of businesses who are failing right now and in the past 10 years who have not been able to distinguish what ideology and what identity is. So I'm going to use this as an example. This has been one of my absolute favorite soaps to use during the holiday. I probably have about that much left. A bar of soap will almost last me forever. I'm having a hard time finding my favorite scrubby, though, that I use for my face. This is a peppermint mocha espresso exfoliating bar. I got it at Ross, and it was $3.99. Now, what do I like about this? The scent was absolutely invigorating. On top of the fact that it actually had pieces of peppermint in it that kind of helped exfoliate, and because it had the espresso in it, espresso gets rid of the fine lines in your face. It kind of wakes up your skin. The identity of this is that it is refreshing. Did you just see that orb go around me? I have noticed more and more when I am doing videos, there seems to be an orb around me. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what it is, but I'm wondering why. But the identity of this soap is it's a clean, fresh scent that offers more than a scent. Now, you're not going to eat the bar of soap, but when you smell it, you're just like, oh my gosh, it just kind of takes you to a place. When you are bringing ideology into it, and ideology would be, well, who uses this bar of soap? And is it only intended for one type of individual, or is it intended for several types of individuals? So, when you were introducing brand identity into where you work and how you're making your money, understand it needs to be a very broad type concept and not narrowed down to one type. But this soap, I have been trying to find it again and again, and I was looking it up online, and because it was a discontinued, I think World Market had it. But if you get a chance, your Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshall's, Peppermint Mocha Espresso. It is by Fresh and Natural Beauty. I promise you, you will not be disappointed in the soap. I love it. And I got to find another bar of it because I've come about down to that. Today at work, we're all trying to make it as we go along. Everybody's trying to wing it. Everybody's trying to do what they need to do. It's important to, we're only in February. What is March and April going to look like? And I had one of my regular kind of customers, although I hadn't seen him in a while, and I'm like, hey, where you been? And he said, because of his industry and it being such a downtime that he didn't get this way very often. But he was in the area and wanted to stop by, and pleasant gentleman. I'm like, well, so how is business in general? And he said, well, let me ask you that. How's business in general? And I just do this because what are you to say? When you are a body on the floor doing a job, trying to help in every capacity that you can only hope that people kind of see things as they are. And, my go-to is the economy is crap. We are in a recession, and nobody just wants to label it a recession. We're coming off the holidays. People overspent. Maybe they didn't have any money to spend at all. So in turn, when it comes, to dining out or to going to have an adult beverage out, money plays a factor in everything. Plus, we're getting ready to do our taxes. There was a little bit of a toboggle with my W-2 that I will have to make up the difference for. What are those tax breaks going to be? And how is that going to affect your bottom line when it goes to spending your money? And where are you spending your money? And are you watching how your money is really being utilized? When you're going out to dinner, when you're going out for drinks, are you noticing what each itemized entity is, or are you just, I like it and I want it and I don't care what I have to pay for it? Well, a lot of people aren't in that same boat. And when you are in a recession and people aren't earning like they used to, and the cost of living keeps going up, you're trying to make ends meet, you're cut in your hours, you're sharing things that you didn't share before with your co-workers. It plays a very big factor in your life and how you live. As a business coach, I talk about that all the time. What are you willing to sacrifice for your job? Are you allowing somebody else to make those decisions on how you earn your money? And if you have a business on your own, with your ideas, do you understand the potential of the money that you can make if you just make smart choices? If you understand communications and marketing and photography and how to use social media and how to use your voice, how to be present online. I'm looking to see where my dogs are. I see the one. Where are the other ones? Oh, there she is. She's laying on the floor. All right. they're knuckleheads right now. The weather was warm last week, and then it got real cold, and they're just like all over the board. But anyway, how are you utilizing your money, and are you able to save? Are you able to pay your bills on the amount of money that you are earning? And how are you allowing other people to decide how your money should come to you? We talk about that in my business coaching class. It is $95. It is a private class. We talk about your gift. We talk about your talent. We talk about how you even got in the journey that you're on with the career that you have. And are you really happy there? You know, when you have the ability to understand that you can monetize your hobby, you can make a great living with no ceiling cap once you tap into how to monetize what you were really, really good at. You know, I was thinking about, I wanted to start to do a series on relationships. Am I a relationship expert? Not really. Can I tell you lessons that I have learned in my life that may help you? Most likely. Probably so. You know, when you were looking at all of your relationships and in an accumulation of people, have you noticed the patterns? Have you noticed your type? Or so you think it's your type, but only because it's familiar and it's easy. And if you've gone from relationship to relationship to relationship, and you have seen the red flags, but you have chosen to ignore them, why? What have you settled less for instead of understanding when you meet the right person? You know, there is going to be growth. There's going to be, I don't want to use the word potential because there is manipulation when you hear the word potential. But when you were looking at evolving and going from this stage to the next stage and to the following stage, you know, bringing that relationship in a higher closeness, a higher form of intimacy. And intimacy can be misconstrued. It can also be taught how to bring people so much closer other than the actual physical part of intimacy. You know, intimacy starts with conversation, matching intelligence, matching chemistry, matching energy. You know, I talked a little bit the other day about, in I think my last video, you know, your chaos and her peace, something like that. I don't even remember what it was. Let me go pull it up here real quick. But it was talking about the type of peace that she is wanting to create for her person, her partner, her spouse. And, you know, we're going to talk about it the other way around tonight. What did I call that? Where is it at? Separating your chaos from her peace. I do so many of these videos during the week, I forget from one to the next. You know, in my last video, I talked about when I was with my person, me wanting us to move because I was so concerned about his mental health and the emotional overload and the physical overload of his job and what was required of his job, that I felt as his woman that I needed to create that peace so he would have that solitude and that serenity. It was important to me knowing how chaotic his world was, you know, during the day. Whomever your partner is, you want to be that peace. You want to have that calm. You don't want the back and forth and the fighting and the yelling and the settling for things that you never even really agreed on. But now I'll ask you, as a man, what are you doing to calm her nerves? What are you doing to take that anxiety away? If you are the provider, what exactly are you providing? You know, because you hand somebody a paycheck, you hand somebody, you know, a couple bucks, and you say, oh, honey, go buy yourself something, and her mind is all frazzled because she does not feel secure emotionally. What are you doing to contribute to that? I was listening to somebody this morning. I'm forever scrolling through social media, looking for ideas, looking for opportunities, looking for other jobs, looking for ways to earn money, looking for ways to move, so on and so forth. And I came across this one gentleman, and he was talking about his wife had sent him a text. He was already at work, and the text read, "Hey, babe, I don't feel right. Something is so off. There's something about today's vibe. I am scared." And he came back with, "What do you need from me? Do you want me to leave my job? Do you want me to come home?" And her response was, "No, I don't want you to come home. I just want you to be aware of where I am at, emotionally." And he said, "I'm going to finish what I'm doing up here." He said, "And I'm going to come home." He said, "Because I need to kind of feel what that vibe is." He said, "Did you watch something on TV? Did you talk to somebody you shouldn't have talked to?" He said, "Are you looking at our bank account?" He said, "Honey, we're fine with our money. Do you need something? Do you want me to order it for you?" And she said, "No, I'm just scared, and I feel like the world is just falling apart, and it's falling apart under my feet." And he said, "I'll be home shortly." He said, "Go grab yourself, whatever it was, a cup of coffee, get under your blanket, turn the TV off, get off social media." He said, "I'll be home in a little bit." He said, "And I'll take care of what I can." He was providing her security. He was providing her some peace of mind. Now, how that all transpired once he got home, maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was something that, an over-exaggerated fear in her mind, because that is what anxiety is and does. It creates something, a higher level of something that doesn't even really exist. And right now, as we are all listening to the craziness in this world and having a little bit of empathy over that little monkey who lost his mom, and everybody in his little herd was being mean to him. I had said to somebody today, I think we're all at a point where we want to get on a plane and go to Japan to protect this little monkey. We are at this very heightened sense of awareness, kidnappings and what's going on in Mexico, and all the files that, are being retracted. Sorry, hang on. Get over here. Stop. We're all concerned. What is happening in this world, and the level of anxiety that a lot of us are feeling? Who is there? Who is there to comfort you? Who is there to take that pressure off? And as a man, knowing your woman is all full of anxiety, you're all over the board, what are you doing to bring her some peace and clarity? I also talk about, I've always wanted to go to the country. I've always wanted to live a farm kind of life. I've always wanted to have animals. I've always wanted to have my hands in the dirt and grow a garden and the farm stand and the whole bit. That has just been me and my dream. But what is it about your woman? What is her dream, and what is her goal? And what are you doing to help her emotionally, not financially? Most women don't want a sugar daddy. They want someone who sees what the dream is and knowing what the benefit is on the other side. So, what are you contributing to her or for her that is allowing her to get closer to her dream and to her goal? I always talk about, where is the peace? Where is the serenity? Where is the calmness? What is it about two people that come together that can offer that for each other? But when you are involved with somebody who has addict behavior, someone who can't help but to always chase a high, somebody who can't be happy with exactly what they have, and they're always looking for that better option because they're opportunist, that creates insecurity in a person's life. There's no stable in that, and then if you want to bring in spirituality, are you praying together? Do you talk about that higher realm and how just at a moment's notice that higher realm can change your life? It can bring you that peace if you are ready for that peace and if you are willing to accept the peace as it is given to you. Talk about that a lot in my life coaching class when we are putting a vision board together. We talk about those relationships. We talk about that intimacy and the closeness. We talk about where is your peace of mind, your serenity, and the calmness with the person that you were with. Or are they just creating more and more havoc? Are they creating triangulations? Are they putting other things before your personal needs as a couple? And where is the oneness in you for both to come together, offering each other the same source of just being in tune and being calm and knowing there is comfort in with what each can bring to the other. But I am Kitryn Marie. I'm an artist, a writer, a speaker, life and a business coach. Teach a variety of art and communication classes, teach painting classes, acrylic paints, talking about technique, talking about color theory, moving the brush around, moving the paints around, perception and perspective. I teach how to put a vision board together based in life coaching. We talk about where you've been, where you want to go. We talk about pattern recognition. We talk about behavior. We talk about all kinds of things in the life coaching. It depends on who my class is or if it's a one-on-one. It's an open dialogue kind of class. It's $65 a person. We can do it as a group. We can do it individually. And then again, my business coaching, where I talk about brand identity, keeping it separate from brand ideology. We talk about what your gifts, your talents are, how you can go live, how you can learn social media marketing. We talk about photography, how you can use it to brand your own personal identity and the products and service that you have. If you are interested, you can email me at kitrynmarie@gmail.com. For today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. If you happen to come across this soap, let me know. Let me know where it's at so I can go and get it. But y'all take care, and I will see you real soon. Have a great night. Bye.